Warriors got
problem.
other problems. We don't worry about that.
Yeah, they're looking okay right now. I can live with this. I can live with this. All right. I think it's time to get to it. Guys, presented by Under Armour. And $100 match on your first deposit. Promo code LightYears, presented by Prize Picks. Remember, guys, $100 match, first deposit. Welcome to LightYears. Andy Lou, Warriors beat the Lakers on a primetime Saturday night game. All is good as far as I'm concerned. Steph, LeBron, the vibes are always the best when you get that matchup. Yeah, the ending with the refs was horrendous, but you know what? They walked into LA, which has been a place they've historically struggled for whatever reason, hangovers, I don't know. It could be anything. They got the win tonight, and I'll take it.
It's 75 degrees in the Bay Area right now. The Warriors, Steph beats LeBron. We get a Steph LeBron classic. The Warriors are tied for 9th in the play-in. They got the Mavs in their sight still. They got a couple more games they play the Mavs. Sam, I don't think there's a single bad thing you can take out of this game right now for the season that the Warriors are having. And also, actually, let's not forget to mention Steph's coming off an injury, right? So first game coming off an injury, looks completely fine. So whatever he did when he turned 36 years old, happy birthday, Steph. It worked. So no complaints.
I'm going to need to correct you. They are not tied for the 9th seed. They're in sole possession of the 9th seed, my friend.
Sole possession.
They are up on the Lakers in the loss column, and that is all that matters right now.
Look at that.
Back, 1,000% back. Yes. No. Isn't it weird, man? Steph versus LeBron, Warriors, Lakers, and it's like the fight for the 9-10 seed. Ugh. So it kind of sums up like the state of both teams, because it still feels like a big deal when they play each other. I don't care what anyone says. There's too much history there. They're clearly two of the best of all time. They're clearly still great players. I thought they both played great tonight. And you know what? Like, it could be disappointing watching the context of their teams that they're not going to likely play on the stage they're capable of tonight. But at least tonight we got, I don't know, man. They're big. Like, maybe the Thunder and the Wolves and those teams will end up creating history and being this stuff. I just have a hard time imagining Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Ant Edwards or any of those guys ever reaching the heights of Steph or LeBron.
No, come on. You knew, obviously no. That's an absolutely correct thing to say, which is why we're watching Steph and LeBron at the end of the season on primetime, because as long as Steph and LeBron are alive, they will be on primetime throughout the entire season. The NBA backloaded the Warriors and Lakers, right? We didn't even get Warriors and Lakers till halfway through the season. We're going to get Steph and LeBron until they are done, and it doesn't look like they're going to be done, because to your point, they were the two best players on the court tonight, and those two guys are still elite when it truly matters, which is insane, because one's 40, one's 36, and it does 39. Make it a little sad that 39. It does make it a little sad that you look at the guys around both teams, and it's very meh. Like, you're just not impressed by either team. AD tonight sat with an eye injury after he got poked in the eye. I don't know what happened. But it's just like beyond those two guys being all-timers and making this amazing, the teams are pretty trash. And that's the sad part of this. But it's still amazing. I still get to watch these guys go after it. Somebody posted that, I think these two, they do show up. They're great ambassadors for basketball. They're great ambassadors for the NBA. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
And there's a lot of positives on both sides, but end of the day, it's still. Do you think LeBron can still be the best player on a title team? Because I was gonna ask, do you think Steph can still? But I know your answer is yes, and I know my answer is yes.
Right.
So I figured I'd just lead with the other guy. I still think he can. To be honest with you, okay. I think you need a better team than you probably needed in the past around him. But like in 2020, who was the best player, him or AD?
I mean, honestly, throughout the whole playoff run, probably AD though, right? Here's what I think. Here's what I think. I think you need for both guys, you can't rely on them for a whole season anymore. Like they're just not as good or consistent from a game-to-game basis every single game. Because you know what happened? They got old. So I think from that perspective, they're not good enough. Because you look at Jokic every night he's going to be.
That's just 220. Yeah, to your point. That's just 229, 30 now.
I'm saying because he's 29 or whatever. Jokic's 29.
Yeah,
I thought Jokic was younger than that. But like Shea, we bring Shea up. Shea's a better player than Steph in the regular season because Shea every night is just amazing. But Steph in a playoff series is better than the majority of all these guys because it's just one truncated playoff series. And I think to answer your question, same goes for LeBron. Those two guys are best players. They can win a championship in a single series, but why are they 9 and 10? Because one, their team isn't good, but they're just like we've seen Steph had bad games. Like they're just not going to be those guys night in, night out because they're just older.
I think
go ahead.
I think they're both better than Tim Duncan was in 2014 when the Spurs won that title with some of the best ball movement anyone's ever seen. Just one of the most balanced teams you'll ever see, right? And I think Timmy was the foundation for everything they did. But I think Steph and LeBron are better than that version of Tim Duncan. But in some ways, they do need a team construct that's similar to that, which is to say, yeah, man, when you're that old, you can't be counting on them to be like 30 plus captaining the defense and like 40 points per game type of stuff, you know? And that's kind of where we're at with them, both their careers. I think they can still be the best player in a playoff series. I think they can be the best player on the court against anyone on any given night. I've seen Steph do it all year. I don't care, you know, it doesn't matter. And I've seen LeBron do it enough times too, but it's the consistency aspect that comes with age. And to your point, that's kind of why they're sitting. You know, with the 9-10 is a little misleading because did you realize they'd be like the 6th seed in the East right now? But that's how basketball's been basically both of our entire lives.
I was gonna say my entire life, the East has been a complete joke. It's not real basketball what they play out there, and you wonder why LeBron made 10 NBA Finals in a row. Like it's a joke. That stat's a joke. I'm glad you brought that up. Who did Tim Duncan have next to him when they won the championship that year?
Boris Diaw. Thiago Splitter.
Yeah, Boris is amazing.
Gary Neal.
Gary
let's see if I can name Danny Green, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Corey Joseph.
Good Corey.
I feel like I'm forgetting someone.
You're missing one guy. I was gonna say you're missing one guy. That's an incredible team, man. By the way, your memory is ridiculous. You named Gary Neal. Seriously, Kojo was getting up back then. Matt Bonner, the stat that was out there. You look at you got the box score up right now on playback. We're going live right after the game on Saturday night. And look at the players that are around these two elite guys, right? Just look at the players that are playing next to them. And I see no Kawhi Leonard, right? I see the depth of that Spurs team was incredible. Compared to what we're seeing from these two teams. The Warriors have great name brand guys, but as we've documented all year, they've struggled a lot.
Sure.
And I think that speaks to kind of the Spurs being amazing. But I don't know if I agree with you on Steph and LeBron better than Duncan. I cannot. I don't. Can you disagree though? Can people say that's wrong? Because Timmy's defense was incredible.
Yeah. That's true. But he was down to 14 to 15 points per game at that point. These dudes are still dropping 30 when they feel like it at any time, so I don't know.
Yeah, Timmy locks up Jokic, you think, by the way? Put prime Timmy in today's world. What do you think he does to Joker? That's a good matchup. That's as good as a matchup you'll get in NBA history. That's
Jokic is Steph level with bullshit shots, by the way. I'll put it, like not from the range, but like some of those like leaning body all over you 17-footer. Like just like stop it, dude. Anyway, I don't know. That's the bigger point, but I do think there are positives for the Warriors in general in this game. And you know, you said there's no Kawhi Leonard, but I will say Jonathan Kuminga keeps getting better, man. He keeps getting better. I thought he opened the game phenomenally, and for me, it's when I see him hitting shots, when I see him, because his jumper's not all the way there, and I don't know if it'll ever be there in the full way. Like
2 threes tonight.
Expecting him to be Kawhi Leonard is insane because Kawhi turned into basically Kevin Durant as a shooter, which is an unheard of thing, right? Like that's just
the best defender in the league for a while.
Sure, but I'm just talking about the offensive side. But Kuminga's shot, I mean, there are nights where I'm like, oh, this could be a real weapon. He can actually rely on this a little bit, and it's not every night, but tonight was one of those nights where he hit a couple threes, he hit a couple mid-range shots. And he's unguardable when he hits outside shots. Like that's the truth of the matter with it, because no one's staying in front of him one-on-one when he's attacking the rim. So he just has to keep the defense a little honest. He was doing that tonight, and I don't know. He's going to average well over 20 points per game next year. He's been averaging about 20 since the turn of the year. The broadcast throughout, should he be most improved player? I'd have to think a little harder. Like. There's a couple other players in my mind who I think just had bigger leaps, maybe like Kobe White. Like Kobe White's more like I just didn't see it coming, being honest with you.
I had no idea. Wasn't he really bad his rookie year? But your point is right. Kuminga's
on the list. On the list.
People aren't going to put this into account of most improved. Not that I give a shit. But Kuminga's figured out the Warriors offense. And that's not easy for players in today's era. Nobody in today's era wants to play the Warriors offense. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to run split cuts. Nobody wants to set a screen. Nobody wants to cut off a back door. Nobody wants to be the pinch post guy. And, I sit here, and I've sat here for years talking about how they need to change the offense a little bit for guys like Kuminga, truly, because it's not an offense that he's always played in. But he's figured it out. Like, take away the fact that he's gotten a lot better shooting the mid-range. He's gotten a lot better handling the ball. He's gotten a lot better finishing. Obviously, finishing. But just take away all that stuff. I think it's the fact that he just knows how to play this complex-ass fucking offense. It's hard to play with Steph. It's hard to play with Draymond. Like, those guys ask you to do things that if Kuminga got drafted by the Houston Rockets, Kuminga would never set a screen. Never.
Yeah, but he might. I'm
not saying it's better or worse.
No, I think it's better for him, because I think if he went to Houston, he's developing every horrendous habit in the world.
Right.
Whereas, I think in the Warriors, he has a real chance to be a star in this league. He has a real chance. And I'm not talking about he's going to average points because he's that gifted. I'm talking about an impact player. The difference between Jalen Green and Jaylen Brown, Jalen Green puts up numbers. Jaylen Brown actually has an impact on winning. And I think that's a good line. I'm gonna keep that. But that's the difference. I do think he's trending towards that way of, and it's not all the way there. And when you see him against LeBron, you're like, defense could use some work in a lot of capacities. But I want to give Steve Kerr some credit for developing him the right way, because he was one of those guys coming out of the draft, could go either way, could be a good numbers.
Did you say you're giving Steve Kerr the credit? Did I hear that correctly?
I'm giving Kerr's staff the credit. But I should, because he is trending in a positive direction on that front. Right? Is he not?
I do not disagree. I'm messing with you. I just, because as a guy that's given a lot of shit to Steve, and a lot of people have been mad at me about it. I think you're right. I think long game Kuminga is a better player. We're talking,
and it's not for everyone.
5 years.
That approach is not for everyone.
It isn't. Maybe he was close. Maybe he just goes hey, just trade me. I'm out of here, right? And so Steve says that. He literally says that. He goes, hey man, long game, I'm gonna be right, or at least most of the time I'm gonna be right. And we sit here, and Kuminga's, I think, blossomed into a player that he fits the Warrior system. He also brings stuff that the Warriors have never had. That's why it's even better for the Warrior system.
Right.
So I agree with you. You've always been pretty high on the playmaking stuff. You're seeing him do a lot of hard dribble, and then kick it down for TJD or someone else for a dunk, which I think is pretty cool. That's not something. That's a game like that's either he's unlocked or he's developed. That's awesome, right? We just don't see that enough. So it's mostly all positives. I think the defense tonight. I don't really want to bring it up, but like I think the defense is a work in progress. But the stuff on offense, you can tell that they need it. They love it. You can tell Draymond.
It's
like he loves it.
And to your point, it's like it's shortening the dribble. Like 2 years ago, it was 3 unnecessary dribbles to get yourself stuck in a bad position, and you're either turning it over or throwing up garbage. And now it's a decisive one step and throw it to Trace, and you get an assist, and that's how you go from 2.5 assists to 5 assists a game, which I think he's capable of, that type of thing. Poor Davis.
He gets to did your guys lose? You guys take
they did. Sorry guys, recording this live. I'm watching my alma mater, Davis, lose the Big West champion. Anyway, we'll get back to the pod.
Actually, you know what? Real quick. Before we get along, we got a couple ones. Tonight's a good night for it. The Light Years podcast, and the Light Years podcast is brought to you by Under Armour, Curry brand. Steph Curry makes you believe you can do anything, and the Curry 11s are specifically designed with ultimate bounce grip and stability to allow everyone to do their thing. You got new generations of ball players coming up, showing the basketball world that the old rules do not apply. I think Pod's got those Steph shoes on every game, I think. The future is exciting, fast, positive, and hungry. This NBA season, rock with your favorite player, rep his shoes on and off the court. Curry 11, perfect for the committed and casual ballers. The UA Warp Tech makes the shoe feel like it was designed for your feet, locked in no matter what you do on the court, stopping your tracks with dual density, UA flow, cushioning, and traction. An emergency brake you don't even notice. Steph's 11th signature shoe steps into the second decade of a sneaker career, pulling colorway inspirations from the wonders of a positive and modernized future. On and off the court, take these kicks with you when you leave the scrimmage. Rep UA wherever you go. So do your thing. Change the game. The Curry 11 Future Curry is available now at currybrand.com.
Shout out Under Armour.
And yes, our head partnership right now is we got Prize Picks. Prize Picks, $100 match on first deposit. Use promo code LIGHTYEAR. So Prize Picks, as everyone knows, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. Easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. Just pick more or less. Very straightforward. On 2 or more player stats, watch the winnings roll in. You can win up to 100 extra money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with NBA, NHL, college basketball entries today on Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Whether it's tournament season, you got UC Davis right now getting after it. Did you see NC State win the ACC?
I'm done with college basketball.
Yeah, I am too. But if you wanted to pick more or less on my guy Reed Shepherd, whoever that is, in the college tournament, you can do that. There's no shortage of high stakes basketball moments this time of the year in March Madness. Get in on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your latest hoops knowledge into serious cash. Download the app today. Use code LIGHTYEARS for a first deposit match up to $100. Download the app today. Use code LIGHTYEARS for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
It's a lot of fun playing Prize Picks today. All right, let's talk a little Klay Thompson here real quick. Klay, strong game off the bench. Honestly, Klay's pretty consistent coming off the bench. I think the role really suits him. It's been one of the more enjoyable things for me this season. Not only watching him find success doing it, but like embracing it. I didn't really think he would embrace it the way he has, but if it suits him. It really does. He comes in, he's got fresh legs, he can be aggressive. He feels so much freer playing off the bench. And then once he sees shots go down, he's a little freer. Like all aspects of his game feel a lot better. And he looks more like Klay than I'm used to when he's doing that. And another great game tonight, For
as long as I bemoan I think Klay's ability to play within the team structure this season, we have not talked about Klay since he went to the bench. And for a good reason, because there's just not been anything to talk about because he's just playing well. Like he's just back to normal Klay. Tonight was 26 points on 9 of 15 shooting. I mean, that's not necessarily, I mean, that's an awesome game, but I think more often than not,
4 rebounds.
75% of the time of the games, he's just been very good. He played 30 minutes tonight, which is starter minutes. I mean, I think classic Klay plays probably 35, right? I think 30 is perfect for him today because everyone's like, play more. It's like, man, you gotta wash the legs for someone like him. 30 minutes is really good. I just think that's crazy. That we just haven't talked to him speaks a lot to his and you were in on this first. Speaks a lot to his team first mentality. I think the way he plays, you don't think of it as team. People don't think of it as team first mentality because he shoots
right because he's such a gunner.
Yeah. Exactly. So you don't think of like, oh, team's a Klay, Klay's a team guy, Klay's a team guy. Then he goes to the bench. Then he doesn't complain. He comes, he plays. There's nothing different about it. He's shooting the same shots. He's really not doing anything different. He's just playing well. And I mean, he's a team guy. He's a team guy. That's just who he is. He's always going to be there for you if he's not hurt. And he's just gonna beat Klay, and that is I'm glad you brought him up as someone to talk about because I feel like that's someone that's been underrated the past month because I do think it's easy to kind of shit on the guy when it's bad, especially given the history and all that stuff and the type of shots he takes. But it's looking great now. It's looking amazing.
No, I mean you can see there. I can see Klay having another 5 excellent years in the NBA. Playing this role, and he's entering free agency and we'll see what happens, but
he's going to be a warrior.
I think so too. I actually, if you asked me 2 months ago, I was like, I don't know, man, it feels like this is heading for a divorce.
Sure.
But now I feel less so, but like he's kind of laid the archetype for teams to be like, this is who I am. I'm probably the best 6th man in the league. I can carry your bench unit. I can keep shooting. And you're probably going to want me to close. I don't have the legs to be the 40-minute per game two-way wing I used to be, but I can help a team win over and over again. And everyone who is serious about winning wants a player like that. He's recentered himself, and he's probably going to end up with a nice little contract out of it. And that's good. It's good in general for everyone on both sides. And I really don't think it's going to be contentious at the end of the day. Like it's early. There can always be like an ugly end to the season, but the way things are going, I do think that everyone ends up kind of on the same page. So
I think I've discounted people that care about winning first and foremost, and that is not what you get the majority of athletes. Especially not in the NBA. Especially not in the NBA. Football, different story. I think the majority of football players care about winning. I would say basketball players.
Well, and I think the difference is in football, you get paid for winning only. Because all contracts are incentive based. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like they will make a O lineman or a D lineman the highest paid player if they impact winning. Whereas in basketball, could find a team to give you $30 million if you put 20 points on the board.
Yeah.
They're gonna lie to themselves and be like, you know what? We can make him a winner.
Yeah.
We can't teach that guy who takes charges to shoot. So.
Maybe I'm a little harsh and say I mean like these guys, they care about winning, but first and foremost caring about winning, changing your mentality, changing the way you train. All that stuff. We've seen Steph, Draymond, and Klay do all those things to get there. And I think, I've discounted how much that right there makes guys like Klay so much better than other guys or just easier to root for. I think like that's it too. Like, I mean, there's so many guys in the league. I mean, you can just I was watching I got Anthony Simons on my fantasy team, and we're heading to the playoffs this week. And sometimes I watch some Portland games, they're late night ones. And DeAndre Ayton's on the team. And he is literally the epitome of a player that does not care about winning. He's going to make so much money in his career. And there's only, maybe 0.5% of people in human history that can do what DeAndre Ayton does. But you're not going to tell me that guy gives a shit about winning. You know what I mean? Like, he does not care. Does not care.
He puts up 22 in a 30-point loss.
Let's
He's
go.
like, I did my job.
Yes, sir.
He puts up 10 in a win. He's mad at himself, you know? Like, yeah, I hear what you're saying on that front. And you're right. And I have one sneaky Klay thought, which is I think the team who's going to want him the most is the Miami Heat.
No, brother.
And you know what? Those dudes care about winning. That's all you need to know.
God.
That's all you need to know. I don't think he's going to go there. I think that's going to be the team that scares us in the offseason, though.
Oh, my God.
That's my bold pick. You could see it. You could see that. You could see it right now. I know you can.
I'm envisioning.
You can see Pat Riley pitching him, living in South Beach, telling him they're going to help him reinvent his body. Yeah, pitch him the boat life. Whew.
Him and DJ Khaled out there. That is, I see the vision. It would hurt my soul. He would basically be,
that's actually like
on roids.
That's like an actual scary pitch because I could see him being like, this is one of the only teams I could see myself considering because they're all so serious about winning, you know? So
I believe you because you wouldn't say some shit without actually, you know, it hurts me, but
I think he's back. I think he's back. I just, you know, I know how free agency goes. We're going to get a scare. His agent's going to leak about how he really liked, you know, Palm West or like the Keys or something like that, just to get Joey to open up the wallet a little bit. So
20 million. People were like, oh, you're going to get paid 10 million. Actually, you know what? Let's not do contract stuff. I'm going to let's keep it moving.
I had a question for you since we're not really talking about the game too aggressively. Which of these two teams do you think will have the better next 3 years?
Wow.
And then the next 10 years. So next 3 years presumes kind of the last few years of Steph being in his prime. And then the next 10 years is like the post-Steph LeBron era.
10 years is ridiculous. That's not even possible. I think you can make pretty good arguments for each one. So do you have like a strong answer for each one?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, because if you do, yes, because I think I'd go either way.
I'm buying the Dubs in the short term for sure because
I'll argue with you.
As much as everyone freaking hates them being conservative with trades, they have all their picks, they have all their assets. Kuminga is a burgeoning star. They have a lot of things to work with around Steph, and they will have cap flexibility. So if they do not have a better team than the Lakers next year, that's 100% on ownership and management. That's where I'm at with it. They're dealing with a better hand than the Lakers. The Lakers don't have picks. The Lakers, what the hell is Rui Hachimura? Like, I don't know. Like, that might be their third best play. Like, they really don't have a lot going on in LA as far as I'm concerned. So there's zero excuse for the Warriors not being the better team in the next 3 years.
I'm gonna argue. Actually, I'm glad you went first and you feel strongly about it because what can the Warriors get that's better than Anthony Davis?
The dude got knocked out of a game with a poked eye.
That's true. But say he stays on the floor. He stayed on the floor a lot this year. They can't do anything about getting a player better than Anthony Davis. Like I think that's the difference. Is the Warriors can shuffle the deck chairs on the Titanic as much as they want. And it is a Titanic because Steph's retiring soon. And they can run around and get and have Draymond and re-sign Klay and Pods takes a step. All this stuff. It's cute. I think it's cute. But I just don't know how much that matters when one team has two top 10, top 15 guys, and the Warriors have one top 10 guy, and the rest of the guys are maybe in the top 50. And that's just that. I think that's the difference between these two teams, and I think that's the difference. It was a difference last year in the postseason series, and I think that's the difference, especially in the short term.
They do need to close the gap between the second best player being Anthony Davis and the Warriors' second best player being, I don't know, Klay Kuminga or Wiggins. You know,
exactly,
like
right? Or
does,
Draymond, right? Like, and you can't sell me on Wiggins too because he just. I mean, sorry, you're not selling me on Kuminga either. You know what I mean? It's just he's gonna be 21, 22. Like, it's just too young. Too many things he needs to get better at to be that number 2 guy. That's why I don't know. And then if you want to go 10 years, if we want to do 10 years, LA's getting free agents. LA's LA. And that's the one that's where I'm like, yes, the Warriors have more stuff in the war chest. They are set up better, but
probably smarter.
You're probably smarter. Yes, most likely smarter. But we've seen LA being a cheat code. That's just kind of LA. Like they'll get the free agent that the Warriors won't, and the Warriors.
That's what I would argue. What's the Warriors free agency pitch post Steph? Does it look just like the Giants, where they're like really, really good at being involved in conversations?
Dwight Howard, Joe Lacob was in conversations with Dwight Howard. Remember that? Remember that? Like they were in conversations.
I mean, there is a market difference. As much as we love the Bay, it's not LA.
It's not, but like that's LA. It's like LA and Miami, right? Like who's beating those? Like
LA and New York, yeah.
In New York, right? Although I disagree on New York. Like I don't know why I would want to. This place smells like shit. But LA and Miami, like those are my beautiful places. Great weather, beautiful places. Like live there, it's amazing, right? You can't beat those. It's just like Bay's great, but I mean it ain't OKC, right? Maybe that's their pitch. It ain't an OKC. You ain't Minnesota. But
Shay, come here. Invest in some tech startups.
So I was listening to a podcast, listening to our guys, friends of the show, Ben Golliver and Andrew Sharman. Golliver was telling a story about how the OKC guys went to LA and they came to the game with all this like new shit that they bought because they were like, oh, we're in LA, we're gonna buy all this stuff. And I'm just like, they're not winning a postseason series. They're just that's not a team that's ready to win any playoff games, man. I know you feel it. I know you feel the old man. That is that.
I like OKC, right, but teams don't make that run the first time. I'm sorry, they don't. They don't. It's not even a hate thing. It's just gotta feel it in the playoffs a couple times before you make the run.
It's not how history works. Before we get to the next one, before you get to the next thing, we are brought to you by Game Time. You should not have to worry about when you buy tickets to your next big event. Warriors got a little homestand coming up. They got a couple good games. We'll get into a preview of that, but you can get all your tickets to Chase Center. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all those games, sports, media, music, comedy, and theater events near you with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. See the view from your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event, and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. With zone deals, you pick the section. Game Time picks the seats for big-time savings. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and roll for less, Game Time will credit you for 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code LIGHTYEARS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code LIGHTYEARS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets. Lowest price. Guaranteed.
We'll be taking some calls soon. If you wanna call in, join on playback right now. Press the hand in the middle. We'll get to you guys.
Goons.
What else was I gonna ask?
I like that topic because I do think the Warriors are probably in a better position to make a splash trade. Right? Like
they're in a great position. It's just a question of like, you gonna execute, or are we gonna be back here being like, oh, it wasn't perfect, couldn't do it, you know? Yeah. And that's where, like, if you're from the Bay, I know most people listening are Giants fans. It gets old making good the enemy of great, you know? And sometimes it feels like the Warriors are falling into that trap sometimes where it's like, oh, well, you know, it wasn't a perfect trade. We can do better next trade deadline. It's like, well, man, number 30 is 36. That's what I keep coming back to.
Do we watch Steph tonight? That guy looked like he could still be apex player on a championship team. Very much so. You put him in a series against OKC. You know what I mean? Like that guy can still very much be that guy still closing
Just
out
fill
big
out,
games.
fill out the roster a little bit. Get some size. Get a little more defense. Just get guys who can play both ways.
Yeah, right.
I know. A good spot.
Paul George.
It's a lot of options. All right.
All right, here we go.
To the callers. Ebony, what's up?
Much, man. First off, I feel like you just have to call out how ridiculous and long the last 2 minutes of that game was. Like, you're looking forward to the last 2 minutes the entire game, and then LeBron throws the ball in the air 5 times because of the shot clock. Anyways, I guess my question is kind of like what you guys were talking about in terms of the, like, which team has the better upside in the next 5-10 years or so, or 3-10 years.
Sure.
What like new up and coming player who's either like a sophomore or third year player that's on any other team would you like to see paired with Kuminga once Steph and all them retire? I guess that's my main question. And then my other question is, who off the bench tonight had the best contribution or most unlikely contribution?
So just to hear your question clearly, which player who's in their first 3 years in the NBA would we like to see most with Kuminga? In a post Steph era, not with Steph, because my answer might be different depending on if it's with or without Steph.
I'd say, the passing of the torch. Maybe Steph is like, if he ever comes off the bench type of thing, and they're legit about to retire, and Steph is just playing like connector minutes basically. Like who's that second option if Kuminga's the first or third? Like who do we want to see around Kuminga when the old dudes retire?
I mean, the obvious one, Wemby or Chet would be the ones that if I lived in a world with no reality, because they're bigs who can stretch the floor, who can play make, who can play with them. So I feel like that's the most obvious one, right?
That's a cop out answer, man. I mean, somebody we can get. Somebody we can get.
Okay. Well, then I'll think about it deeper.
Why? Because I was cheating and I was looking at the drafts of the past 3 years. So I was cheating. But 2 names that come out to me. One is kind of bullshitty because he just signed a super long contract. Also been struggling, weirdly enough. Maybe he's hurt. Halliburton. The comments had it right away. So that's a guy he'd have to ask out. Probably not for a few years. Maybe he doesn't like Indiana. Maybe the Pascal Siakam stuff goes to shit.
That looks
the
really
other guy that
right
I think is interesting. Yeah, it doesn't look great. He also isn't playing well, but I mean, you're just thinking of guys that play with Kuminga. Basically, it's just a guy that can get Kuminga the ball. In a post-Steph world, I don't think you're relying on Kuminga to be the ball handling guy. He's not that type of guy. He's an elite play finisher, I think. The other guy, same draft as Kuminga, terrible team right now. Worst team in the NBA. He's been hurt a lot. I also don't know how good he actually is. Kate Cunningham. So I think that's a guy that I enjoyed coming out of college. He's another guy that's like it could be a pretty decent scorer, but definitely a good passer. Great feel for the game. Like a real big combo point guard type. Get him out of Detroit. That's the other one.
It's huge.
So he's someone that I don't know about realistic, Ebony. I think that's like, I don't know if any of these guys are realistic because they're probably going to pay him and be like, oh, just be here with us. But hey, maybe Cade's like, forget it. Maybe Cade's like, forget it. I don't want to be here. I don't want to win 15 games a year and go trade me. I don't think that's that unrealistic. And I think that's perfect. That's a perfect player. Or, you know what? You could go with Pods. That's the guy. Pods and Kuminga, baby.
I had the
Steve
thought.
Nash and Amari.
I had the thought, but he doesn't bring enough scoring. I think you talked about it the last pod. If he eventually like shoots, like becomes like an actual shooting threat, then heck yeah. Like Kuminga's driving, Pods on the 3, like that works, makes sense. But he would really have to become a shooter. But yeah, that's all I got for y'all tonight.
Appreciate you.
She had one more question. I forget what it was now. I forget what it was. Oh, the guy that played off the bench the best. That's got to be Klay, right? Easy one.
It's Klay. Yeah.
CP3. I feel like I say CP3 or not now, but man, CP3 is playing well, dude.
He is. He's like sneakily been playing well in a smaller role. And there's been no drama about it either. That's the thing that I really enjoy. Yep. Everyone's like, oh, he's not going to accept coming off the bench. I'm like, he played 19 minutes tonight. Seemed fine. Did his job.
The pods finishing over him gets a little tricky, I think.
Give him the pros. Give him pros clap. Pros clap for that one. Golf clap for Chris Paul. Like, no, I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, it was weird when they got him. We laughed about it. Has he complained? He's been a pro.
No,
he's been a pro's pro. You know, one of these days they're going to acquire a player over 6'3" who can play basketball, and we're going to be like, wow, you guys have grown up. But, you know, until then, like, let's just appreciate him for what he is.
Tachion, sir.
Let's continue to slander him because we do not appreciate Chris Paul in this household. Let's stop the bullshit.
Stop. Look at you. Let's go. Look at you. Bring the energy.
Let's stop the bullshit. But on the positive note, let's just appreciate Trish Jackson Davis finally getting the minutes that he deserves and actually being a sneaky good duo candidate with Steph Curry. They're basically like a nice +7 on the on-off ratings, basically. And it's like, I'm just so happy that he's getting the minutes that he needed in order to get some reps.
Yeah, somewhere along the line, right? They'd start playing him somewhere along the line. I don't know when.
Probably the Boston game, but, you know, it always takes Boston to get Kerr to wake up and realize that, hey, just be serious for once.
He doesn't address the Warriors' biggest issues, but like he's absolutely a Warriors player. Like he can pass. He can make plays off the short roll, which is like a requirement of being a big man in the system. He's a strong finisher. He's a sneaky defender. For a rookie, he's figuring it out. He's older, but like look, man, at number 57, they got a guy who can be a rotation piece for the next 4 years. Is that a problem? And that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Oh, it's not a problem. Literally.
No,
it's amazing.
No.
Funny that two left-handed guys.
And one last thing, Andy, do we believe in Farhan to finally get the job done and get Snell? All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.
You didn't want to stay on air to hear that answer. That's how much I know you don't believe it.
No, you're gonna ask me, me. My one Giant. Yeah, we'll get to the Klay quote here. My only Giants take is that as we move into the regular season, is that it's a little sad that they spent the offseason trying to find ways to save money while also having a decent offseason. But you're just in the back of your head, you're just like, are they really serious about winning? Not really. And that's why I always find people who whine about the Warriors front office kind of like, yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I got to root for the Giants front office. I really don't care. Warriors front office, fine by me. Good by me. They spend money. They might spend money stupidly, as Sam always mentions. You're right. They might spend money on some dumb stuff, but at least they spend.
They have different issues. There's different issues across the board with the two. But yes. It's a 1%er problem. I'll put it that way. So,
all right, what you got for us, Klay?
Let's see what Mr. Klay Thompson has to say.
Shit-eating grin on his face. So good.
Oh my God, Klay, I love you. That's I wish I saw that 5 minutes ago. And I like how I froze it on. He looks
high as shit.
But I mean, he's you get what he's getting at, where he's just going off on, you know, let's be honest, the Lakers are the Yankees of the NBA. They have the largest fan base because they have the longest success in the NBA. Like this is not a I'm not breaking news when I say that. And over the last decade, the Warriors have been the hottest team, and they've turned a bunch of new fans into being Warrior fans. And it's noticeable. Like you go to Staples, it's not as raucous pro Lakers as it used to be. There are a lot of Warrior fans there tonight. I don't know if you noticed on the broadcast. I thought it was
loud, dude. It was loud, man.
But
Steph
I mean,
hit that and 1-3. Ooh.
Yeah, could you imagine Staples going nuts for a Warriors player hitting a 3 15 years ago during Kobe's heyday?
Oh my God! Remember Kobe at Oracle? Remember the Lakers?
Exactly. Yeah,
Same thing.
That's my point.
Exactly. Yeah. Can't I get all preachy for a second, but dude, you know how people always talk about Chase Center and they always talk about real fans this and real fans that, and I have a soft spot for my city, and people always be talking about how these fans it's not real fans in there anymore, and I'm just like, dude, man, it's just how sports stadiums work. Look at Staples now, or whatever it's called. Look, what is it called? Solana, whatever it's called.
Crypto.
Yeah, whatever scam is they're running. It's just how it goes. It's just how it goes. Teams get great. They get a ton of fans. Tickets cost $500. Normal people that are just trying to bring their kids in that have a normal, job that isn't making $800,000 a year can't afford to go. That's how it works. That's how it works everywhere. It's not just San Francisco. I don't know. I hate it. I hate it when people did it, Sam. I still hate it now. So when I hear Klay talk about it's like, dude, it happens.
There's an undertone when people do it about San Francisco, which is like quasi racist, but not quasi. It is. It's there's no real fans there. Oh, okay, gotcha.
I can't stand it.
Gotcha.
I'm glad Klay said it. I know I just wanted to. It's a good video. Shout out to Klay. Shout out to LA. Shout out to Lakers fans.
The smirk on his face though is I should pull it back up. I really should pull it back up because
he's in a good mood, huh? He's in a good mood.
And that's how you know he's about winning. When he came off the bench, they won. He's in the best mood ever. The best mood ever. He can't fake it. Like I think that's the thing I've learned to appreciate about Klay Thompson more than anyone. Steph can go up on the podium and lie his ass off because he's like a pro, like he knows how to play the game. Like he's almost too good at it. It's kind of scary. You could see him being like, we got to work on that. And like in his eyes, you could tell he wants to kill someone, but Klay's a little more sensitive. Like he just doesn't have it in him to like,
he doesn't lie.
Do fake positivity when he's in a bad mood or to like be fake humble when he's happy either, like there's too much emotion there.
Good man.
Yeah. That's our guy. Yeah. Sorry. I'll pull the clip right back up for everyone who's asking. It's a good one. Look at this. Look, he's glowing, dude. He's just glowing. This dude looks like every guy after they got kissed for the first time. He looks just so happy.
You remember your first kiss?
I'm
trying to think of.
Maybe, but you know what I'm saying.
Okay, I was going to say,
he's like,
has it been that long?
He's blushing. It's just.
I mean, he's got a new fade. He got a new cut. I mean, look at him. Oh, you know what he's thinking of right now? He's gonna have a good night. LA too. Post game, like this isn't a Sunday, because when they go Sunday afternoon game, prime time, it's bad, right? Tonight is like they got the win, they're out in LA tonight. They don't play till Monday night.
This is a great night. This is a great night for Klay Thompson Inc.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Might be worth getting on Prize Picks and betting the Warrior unders on Monday. Should throw that out there. Promo code Light Years, $100 match deposit, guys. But
Draymond might not make it. Who do you think's not making the flight tomorrow back home? Draymond.
Funny you mentioned Draymond because
yeah,
absolutely ready to go out right now.
Yeah, he is.
Build up an organization like he has, and then you're asked to take on a bench role. not many people that know how that feels, but there's a bunch of people that wants to judge it. And I felt like early on he was too worried about how people was judging it, and now he don't care. And once he stopped caring, his game did what we know Klay Thompson is capable of doing. So I think it shows incredible maturity in Klay, and wanting to extend this as long as we can. And I said, this is our baby. Like, we've built this thing up from the ground up, and for him to accept the role, but not only accept the role, but pour into the young guys like he's been pouring into the young guys since he accepted the role, I think has been huge. And when you got Klay Thompson feeding you confidence as a young guy, that takes you through the roof. And it's allowing these young guys to play at the.
These dudes are insane enough to think they can win a title with just young dudes around them. That's my favorite thing about them. Like, I mean that sincerely. Draymond, Steph, and Klay literally think they can speak it into young players. They think they can make it happen with Pods, Kuminga, and Moody next year, and Trace. And I can't actually rule it out of possibility because they're that good.
They've got the right young players.
And
they're not. I don't. Go. Sorry. Go.
That was I was just going to talk about, like, also just watching Draymond just like throw it up for Klay right now too. In general, like, I like the energy and the spirit of this team. That's all I'm going to say. Like, I don't know where they're going to end this year. Like, we're kind of almost at the end of the season. Realities are realities, but like, I really do like the vibe around this team and the way they're moving.
They have New York, Memphis, and Indiana at home next week. 3 games in a week. Well, they got Minnesota on the road, but 3 games in a week, all at home. They've been mediocre at home, but they're fully healthy. All those 3 teams have injuries and or struggling. The team is in 9th place right now, 4 games over 500. Samuel, how many times do we have to sit here and say they should win all 3 games? Last time they lost San Antonio when San Antonio didn't have Wembanyama. But to your point, saying, hey, we're near the end of the season, and this team, the vibes are good, and they believe, they have to show that they can, right? Because they win all 3 games, all of a sudden they're 7 games above, and they've still got Dallas twice. And Dallas is the team right above them twice, and they win both of those games. We're talking about different. Again, like, I'm going way further, but I'm just saying right now, next week they're going home. They have 3 games against Eastern Conference teams, 2 of them against Eastern, 1 against Memphis, which is a joke, although Bane's coming back. But still, that's a team you should beat. 3 games, 3 wins. That's what you should get at home. And I mean, like you said, man, they are in the right place to do that. They are playing well enough to do that. Also, Draymond, I have no idea what he's wearing. Come on, we got to do better than that if we're going out tonight in LA. So, what are we doing?
I will say that's the other reason I'm buying them over the Lakers long term. They have 3 guys who are bought into making the Warrior thing happen, whereas the Laker guys are just kind of there for LA to a degree. So,
I think Austin Reeves is enjoying LA. He's enjoying LA.
I mean, they have some players. To your point, they have 2 top 10-ish players in general, where the Warriors only have 1. And end of the day, talent matters more than anything else. But I wouldn't discount the guys in Golden State.
No.
All right. I said we end it there. Appreciate everyone.
Monday night.
Great Saturday, everyone.